Meteorologists are watching signs that El Niño could strengthen later this year, possibly becoming one of the stronger events that we've seen in decades. Meteorologist Simone Thomas explains when it could develop and what it means for our weather here in Arkansas.
Well, lately you might have been seeing a lot of buzz online about a super El Nino developing this summer, and you might be wondering, well, what does all of this mean? We've talked about La Nina and El Nino before, and although there's not a technical definition for what makes a super El Nino, here is how we determine the strengths of those ENSO patterns. The La Nina, of course, is the cool phase, El Nino being the warm phase. It's considered weak when you get into that threshold of at least 0.5 to 0.9, moderate once you get over that 1.0 ONI value, and then once you get over 1.5, that's what's considered a strong. Well, based off the latest forecast from NOAA, this came out earlier this month. This is the forecast through the next couple months of the year. This is broken up by a 3-month season, so that first column being March, April, May. The last one is November, December, January. Well, what you see right now is we have ENSO neutral conditions. That means it's neither La Nina or El Nino. Well, by the time we get into the summer months, May, June, July, we're starting to see some probabilities increasing of El Nino. And then by the time we get to late summer, early fall, August, September, October, that's when we see probabilities increasing for a very strong El Nino. That is where you're starting to hear this buzz about a super El Nino, because ONI values of 2.0 or greater are going to be expected as we get into the latter months of the year. Well, what does this mean for Arkansas and much of the United States? Typically, when we're in an El Nino pattern across the southern United States, we're seeing cooler than normal and wetter than normal conditions. A little bit closer to Arkansas, we're right in between that wedge of warmer than normal temperatures to our northwest and cooler temperatures to our southeast. So typically near normal temperatures, sometimes we could see cooler than normal, but what we're really focused on is this wetter than normal pattern that persists across much of the southern United States. As we look back at previous El Ninos, we have seen some rainy patterns. The rainiest being one of our most recent El Ninos in 2015 to 2016. During that strong phase, we recorded nearly 50 inches of rain. Another prominent El Nino that stands out is the one of 1982 to 1983. This one is significant not only because of the rainfall coming in at second place, but this one also produced a lot of tornadoes compared to other strong El Nino phases we've seen in history. Now, I want to point out this is out of the ordinary for El Nino phases. We typically see more of those tornado outbreaks during La Ninas, but this one stands out because there was a historic tornado outbreak here in Arkansas in December of 1982. Like I just mentioned, though, this is something relatively uncommon with El Ninos. Our most active tornado years commonly translate with La Nina years. So although it's not necessarily abnormal to see a tornado, seeing numerous strong tornadoes and outbreaks aren't as favorable with those El Nino conditions. So the bottom line, what this means for us with the El Nino developing this summer and strengthening through the year is that we could see near to slightly above average rainfall in Arkansas, which right now we need all of the rain we can get to try to eliminate or remedy some of these drought conditions. Severe weather and tornadoes are still possible as we get into the secondary severe weather season in the fall, but they are less common associated with those outbreaks than you see with the La Nina phase. Again, temperatures will likely trend near to slightly below average, but the bottom line is it looks like we could get some favorable rain out of this.